another of my forces called the friction. Now, I can set the friction to a very high number, and now we're going to get the effect of both these forces. The friction is trying to slow them down, the turbulence is trying to push them around, and we get these conflicting forces, although the result doesn't look that bad. I can sell this to someone and charge them 8 hours of work, but I'm not going to do that.
My man, now we're talking.
Let me turn off this friction and press play. I want to go to a certain time frame, and at that time frame,
Then enable the friction. That does look sick as hell. Just playing with these would be fun. What'd you do? Oh, you just turned it off. Bah. Whoa. Dude, particles are going to be so
I
fun.
want to reduce the strength of my turbulence
Okay.
while increasing the strength of my friction.
Yeah, so you just
So
keyframe
I'm
it.
going to stop that competition between the forces, and I'm going to art direct it. And I'm not going to use any specialized tools. I'm just going to change the keyframe values. So I found some interesting numbers that if I go, for example, to frame 100, and one thing you will see is that when you're scrubbing, the simulation doesn't play. And again, that's because it has to play live on the GPU in order for it to do its thing. Later on, we're going to talk about caching the animation. And
Yeah.
that will allow you to view it and scrub and do all sorts of things.
Right.
But it will have all its parameters fixed. More on that later. This is going to be my catchphrase from now on. More on that later because we have a ton of stuff to talk about. So I'm just going to go to frame 100, and I'm going to go to this turbulence force, and I'm going to add a keyframe. At frame 140, I'm going to set this to 0. So after frame 140, the turbulence is not going to apply anything. Now, what we'll see before we touch anything else, we're not going to activate the friction yet. What you will see is that although the turbulence will turn down to 0, the particles will not stop. All they will do, and if I extend my timeline...
Did I mess this up? Did he only keyframe one thing?
Continue going to add a keyframe.
No, yeah.
At frame 140, I'm going to set this to 0. So going in a straight line. They're not going to change their directions anymore, which is pretty much what the turbulence tells them to do. So now I'm going to go to the same keyframes at frame 100. I'm going to activate my friction, and I'm going to set it to 0 at frame 100. And at frame 140, right here, I'm going to set my friction to 50. And these are just numbers I found by playing around. You will art direct it in this way. Again, I'm going to set this to 200. I just wanted to show you that they go in a straight line. And I'm going to rewind, press play, and this is what you're going to see. You see our simulation, then suddenly the turbulence stops, and we have this very, very slight motion. And this motion is...
Oh, I didn't have friction enabled. How silly of me. Friction. Yeah. Okay.
because the friction doesn't freeze them, it just slows them down more and more, but there's always a bit of motion. And you can see it plays all the way to the end, and we have this interesting result. Now, there's one more thing I want to do, because if you go close to your emitter, you'll see that we're still emitting particles, right? And again, I'm going to do these extensions of the timeline quite a bit. Now, you can see that it's emitting particles nicely, and then they freeze, but at the center, it's pumping out more and more particles, but they can't move very far because the friction is quite high. What I want to tell my emitter is to stop emitting at frame 150. That's it. And although we could go and keyframe the rate and all that, actually there is a mode here. If you click on range, this means that it will use a frame range in order to emit these particles. The start frame is always here, so you can offset this if you want your simulation to start at a later frame.
Dude, look at that.
And the range tells you for how many frames you want it to emit from the start frame. I'm going to leave it at 0, and I'm going to set my duration to 150. So what I'm telling my emitter now is that I want to start emitting 10,000 particles per second at frame 0 constantly, and at frame 150 I want you to stop emitting, and that's it. So rewind, press play, and you will see
That's cool.
that
That's cool
it's
effect.
going to emit particles, and at frame 150 it's going to stop. That's it. No more particles are generated, and we have this nice little growing sphere. So let me zoom out here and frame it. I'm just pretending I'm a director now. Fix it in post. No, did I really say that? So let's press play, and you can see that we have our little simulation here, and it looks beautiful. It's very fast. It has quite a few particles. The last part of this is to clone something on these particles.
Okay.
Now, you can directly render these. There's absolutely no problem whatsoever.
Right.
Let me just bring up Redshift, and if you
Are
start
these squares?
the render view, you get particles
Oh,
with
it's
the
so.
color they've been generated in.
Oh, that's so fucking hype. Wait, hold on. We gotta see that. Where's my render view? Fuck it, let's try that. You lying bastard. That didn't do anything. Wait, why don't I have RS render view? Render Q, render all takes, render to picture viewer. Make a preview? Did you guys just rename it to make a preview? Is that what you did? Hello? His looks so much. That's my render preview. Sick. Cool. I mean, I don't know why his like has this cool, beautiful,
Then
like. His is actually rendering. Mine's like there's no lights in the scene, or I don't know how his rendered anything. Mine sure shit didn't. Alright, whatever.
and that's all nice and fine.
God, you lying
This is
bastard.
just the automatic way to render particles in Redshift. But I want to go.
Oh, fuck, wait. Oh, dude, do I not have Redshift on this? Oh, son of a shit. I don't have Redshift. Oh. Fuck. Oh, that's not good.
And assign.
That's some settings I don't know how to change. I thought Redshift was already integrated into. Particles. That's awkward. I don't think I have Redshift on this. Oh, fuck. I didn't know it said that. Whatever. Oops. Alright, whatever. Redshift. It's up to date and I haven't installed, but I thought Redshift was just already baked into Cinema. Yeah, 'cause you can't launch Redshift on its own. Alright, whatever. I'll have to fix that later, but alright, let's just keep watching.
Objects to them. So let me go back to my particle layout. I will do that using a cloner. So create a cloner. Let's make a little cube because I want to clone cubes, and I'm going to make my
I
cube
want
2
to
by 2
cube
by 2.
circles. Actually,
Nice
I
and
don't really
small.
want to do this.
Made a child of the cloner, and now you tell the cloner to go to object mode. And the object you need to use, and that's very important, is not the emitter. No,
Holy.
not the emitter. It's the particle.
Whoa. That's
This
so
is
cool.
the object that contains all the particles, the points, and all the data associated to it. The emitter only gives a number of instructions on how these particles are going to be generated, when, how big they're going to be, and all that nice stuff. But the particle group is what holds the actual data. Our particle object is the particle.
That's so cool.
So I'm going to grab this and put it over here. And I can even make my particle group invisible. And I'm going to go here, and you will see we have a lot of cubes. Now you can see it's stuttering a bit, and that's because I'm using the instance mode. It's actually cloning over 10,000 little cubes, but I can always switch to multi-instances, and now things are going to be blazingly fast. We can render millions of cubes using this method. But in any case, you can go here, you can change the sizes, you can do whatever you want and create beautiful graphics. And this was the most basic type of particle simulation you can do. As we move on to the other tutorials, I'm going to start introducing more objects, more parameters, and more ways to work with particles.
Sick. Cool.
Now that we know...
I'm a little concerned of why... Let's just save this bad boy first. Whoa, that is very cool. Cool. All right, well, I think this actually will be kind of a fun course. Still a bummer that we couldn't follow along with the other one. I hope it gets fixed sometime soon, but in the meantime, the particles are going to be fun, so we can just leave it with that. We can look at the... Oh, I guess I switched it. So yeah, there's caching, intro, and all these are like quick. Particle groups, introduction to conditions, data modifiers. So this will be nice. This will be a good intro into just what everything is and what it's called and what it does. And then we can hop over into the other one that might be more in depth, where you actually start building stuff out. And then I don't think it's one of the courses where you come out of it with any type of final animation. So then after we go through the course, we could maybe do a quick, like, taking what we learned and applying it and making a cool little particle animation. That'd be fun. That would be fun. Sick. Alright, well, didn't go quite as planned, but I think we found a decent... Let me save this. Yeah, got a decent backup plan. So... Cool. But it is time for me to go to bed and go to work in the morning. All right, cool. Peace.